Yeah. All right. Good morning, everyone. How you doing? And a happy whatever today is. Um, right. Where are we? Why is this not working? Ah, all right. Let me fix that. What should we do? We should do something Danish, maybe. Let me see if that works. There we go. Good morning, everyone. I hope you guys are having a good day so far. I am having a day so far. I woke up. I went to bed pretty early yesterday and then woke up before midnight and felt really shit. And I thought, okay, this is it. This isn't gonna happen, right? A bit of Creedence Clearwater Revival, right? But it turned out fine. I survived. Let me see if I can get this blanket action going. This is pretty cozy. The blanket is sort of merged with the chair. So I'm sort of like a camel with the chair now. But that's okay. I've accepted the chair into my life. And this is our future now. I have been rejigging the sound a little bit. So if there are any audio differences throughout the stream, let me know. I think we're gonna get a little bit of background music going. I thought we were. We're not. Why not? There we go. Yeah, that looks right. All right. Hello, buddy. How you doing? Ah, there we go. Okay. Yes, me and the blanket. BFFs, right? And the chairs in this too. So let's get some tea going. Right, so how you guys doing? What exciting adventures have you been on since last time? Last time what? I don't know. You figure it out. Yeah, it's blanket from now on. Blanket Miller has been covered up here. Oh, this is nice and snug. I wish the ergonomic blanket. That'll be pretty good. All right, let's have a quick look. Good morning, Enrico. Good morning, W20MC. Good morning, Caleb. Good morning, Dr. CS. Good morning, Tanaka. Yeah, make TV W20. Oh my god. Ah, this is setting the tone. Right. Danaka shared something with me this morning that I haven't read, so we're gonna look at Get Rare. Let's see what this is. Reuse recorded resolution. Okay. Next time you see the same conflict, is it like specifically the same and the same type of conflict? I was gonna start working right now. Well, don't see us. Don't let me stop you. You guys should probably have this on in the background if you're working. That would be ideal for your career. I need to wipe down the screen for the audio interface, but I don't dare to while I'm streaming because that means pushing a bunch of buttons, touch screens and all that. There are a number of scenarios in which this functionality might be really handy. This feels like a power user functionality, a piece of functionality, right? So if you are, oh shit, did I leave that going? No, I didn't. All right, cool. Just reviewing some code. Well, share it with us, Dante Sirius. I can help with the code review. Just share your like company secrets and stuff. Hello, Modpro. Good morning to you, buddy. How you doing? I saw you were co-working yesterday, but I was so broken that I didn't come and hang out. I caught up with Solburn this morning. I saw him on Discord, and I said, "Hello, how you doing? How you been?" And he's taking a break from Twitch for a while. Fair enough, Tanaka. No, I'm better today. Who is Solburn? That is a random question. Solburn, right? It's another streamer who used to be on in the mornings. I used to watch. So I have like my morning streamers that I watch. This morning was Marek. I used to watch Solburn, but he hasn't streamed any this year, more or less. I watch Grim in the morning as well. I prefer to stick to the terms of my contract and not get fired. Chicken curry was really good yesterday, but I think I ate too much. I woke up all sweaty and like, anyway. I have to assume that's a joke, Modprog, and not a skill issue. Well, where are you looking though, Physiotronic? Are you looking? If you're looking in the software and game dev, you're gonna find most non-game dev. Okay. That makes more sense because I'm thinking if you're looking in the software and game dev category, you should expect more devs in there. My tragus is itchy again, which means I don't want to wear headphones for too long. Only have hot tubs and dancing. So I've been tinkering with my audio interface, so we should be better this morning. I don't know what I said this morning. We should be better today. Oh, come on, brain. Sort yourself out. We should be better today when it comes to dialing people in. For those of you who didn't watch yesterday's stream, one of my viewers joined me via Discord and we were just chatting nonsense for a bit. So that happened. I kind of finished the intro and the code for another YouTube video, but I don't know how to put the code together with the video now. The format feels really boring. So it's a bit like, oh, the first thing we need to do is do one of these things. And now that we have that, we can go ahead and do this. Now that this is done, we can proceed to do this. And finally, we can do this. And that is how you do this thing that I was talking about. And I just watch it and I'm like, wow, you're amazingly boring. I have bored myself with myself. There has to be something new in there, right? Non-game dev. Oh, you follow Chris? I haven't chatted in his stream for a long time, Physio. I found a few more about someone doing learning and there is zero interaction with chat. Now that's beans. That's rubbish. I have done a few streams like that where I'd be like ignoring chat for a bit and I do something and then I get back to chatting and stuff. And it's not as fun, right? Soding, are you watching him? Physiotonic? He's very good at programming. Or he seemed to be very good at programming. I haven't actually sort of done an in-depth analysis of his programming. I looked at the Rust code he writes a bit, but I can't like qualify someone's C code or whatever. I just see tractor piloting and then I walk away. Okay. So let me give a shout out, Physiotronic, to some people here, right? Christoph IT. This is one, right? So this guy streams. Apparently no picture, but there you go. He streams SIG, and he's involved in working on the SIG compiler, so that's a good one to follow. Another one would be well, we got Modprog here in chat. He does okay. All right. What? Why? I'm okay. Never mind. You can follow Modprog. You can follow Christoph, and then there is Spacetime DB. Let me do this. Okay, follow these people. Spacetime DB. Is it Spacetime _ DB? I don't remember. It's Bopio. He was doing. Actually, they are doing game dev, but I don't know what to say. They're kind of good. They're more interesting. They're not just sitting there and making asset flips or whatever, right? So let's put Spacetime DB in there, right? They're building a database. Now, they're currently using that database to build some kind of Minecraft thing, right? But it's worth following them either way, right? Who else do we have here on Twitch that are good? Adab's Grim. But Adab's Grim has very low tolerance in chat, right? So if people start talking about Rust or whatever, it's like, gone. Smaller Rust non-game dev streamer is mostly Maxi. I think I follow them. Yeah, so when people are drunk, or in the case of Griffin, of Chris, then I tend to just not. All right. You should follow Modprog, if only for the reason that he's kind of doing this German Tom Selleck look, right? Okay, so who else do we have that's streaming? Well, there's Marek, right? We can do a shout out to Marek. There you go. Marek is doing a lot. He's very focused on things like AI and enterprise software. This morning he was talking about Firebase and other things. And his chat, he's like a very innocent streamer. His chat can sometimes be complete assholes, but he doesn't seem to mind. Oh, that's that. Then you should go and follow Marek, right? He does good stuff too. I was watching his stream this morning, and like a part of it. Sometimes I just want to tell people to shut up, but that's just me being like feeling a bit paternal to other streamers, and that's not my place, right? Okay, so we were looking at Re. Marek should stream a bit. I 100% agree with Modprog. His streaming times are asking to be improved. Thanks, Physiotronic. Right, or I'm sure they'd be happy about it. Marek has an AI competition. Yeah, he's doing the AI Olympics or whatever they called it. Right. Yeah. All right, so this one only seemed to be relevant if you're doing a lot of merging and dealing with merge conflicts, and as someone who never have any conflicts in the merge ever, because I don't have the skill issue. This one is not going to be as relevant to me, I guess. A long-lived topic branch will ultimately merge cleanly, but you don't want to have a bunch of intermediate merge commits cluttering up your commit history. Wait, you can occasionally merge, resolve the conflicts, then back out of the merge? If you do this continuously, then the final merge should be easy because re can do everything for you. Okay, so then I understand. This thing will allow you to record the merge conflict resolution. So when you go to do the merge again, you can just play back that resolution. Okay, that makes sense. Hello, Ninth Prime. How you doing? How you doing? All right. I'm just gonna hide here for a while, okay? This is the stream now. How you all doing? This is very unsettling, isn't it? All right. Have we already talked about this? Is this the Mozilla? So what happened with the CVE for Firefox? It was announced at 9.8. It's been fixed already. Yeah, okay. I have the fix. Yeah, that makes sense. Have you heard of JJ? Yes, I think so. We talked about this a long time ago, didn't we? Oh man. Nah, it's all good, Physotonic. So I don't know what. So this has already been resolved, all right? What's there to talk about then? Okay. When was the last time you went on a date, Slayton? I mean, it's just not a memory safety issue. Those will happen in all big browsers until we get rid of C++. Hot takes, mod prog. That's all right. Yeah, I think we looked at JJ when I first heard of it. It's like built on top of Git or something like that. I don't quite remember. It was a long time ago though. A lot, I'd imagine, Physotonic. You could talk about how Rust would have prevented this a year ago. All right, then I have to ask you, Slayton, what have you done recently to get yourself a date? I think we need to start picking at the problem there, right? I've now decided it's a problem that we as a community shall tackle. We shall all talk about Slayton's dating life now. Yeah, it looked really interesting, but it was not ready for production use. It might be now. It was so long. I think this was before we did the podcast, right? You never know which one is which. Either way, it's a bit of a deal breaker. But good on you for asking her out, though, right? So I don't know. Just keep doing that, Slayton. Keep asking girls out and that you want to go on a date with. Don't just ask every woman you find. That's gonna be a bad idea. This blanket is winning. Come, get out of there. Why? Blanky, why? I thought we were friends. There you go. Oh, really? Oh, that's fun. There is mature now, right? No, but I think I've looked at this. I have looked at it. I don't remember what it was that seemed so interesting about it, though, right? Do you use the default password manager for Firefox? Oh, good God, no. Isn't the password... So this is a long time ago, maybe, and maybe they fixed it, but isn't password managers in browsers just plain text? Right? Probably don't need to shake my tea, do I? The problem is the girls I might like are usually inaccessible. My GUI is low quality. Oh, Slayton, listen, that is some misconception. Okay, I did mention on one of my videos that I was a pickup artist, and that's clearly true. So let me educate you a little bit here, right? In things, okay. So I don't know what girls being inaccessible means. Like, if you're only attracted to women who are married or in long-term relationships, then that sounds like you're sabotaging yourself and you need to look outside of that bubble, right? So your physical appearance, although it plays a role, it is not... Men and women aren't... They don't operate in the same way, okay? It might be more interesting to someone of the opposite sex that someone is kind, considerate, open-minded, but there's a lot of qualities that might come before the appearance, right? So I mean, there is... I was gonna use an example, but then I realized that that's a bad example. No, there are many. The funny thing is, there are many people out there. When you see them walking down the street with a girl, sometimes people say that guy must be rich, and that's not the case, right? That's not always the case, at least, right? So I think it's very easy. My wife, if she were to outline my redeeming qualities, my looks would not be in the top, right? She would say, you're funny, and since I have low standards, it's easy. You're always home, so I know where you are. I don't need a leash anymore. There are a lot of things about people that aren't about appearance, and especially when it comes to long-term relationships. Now, I don't know if that's what people are looking for, but a long-term relationship, you might start a relationship based on passion, but that turns into something else, right? You need to attack them first, or how else are you going to show them all those good traits? See, that's a valid point, Physiotronic, but you can do that by being a warm, welcoming, funny person, okay? All right? Just walk up to a girl and be like, hey, baby, you like to have low standards. Do you want to hang out? All right? And I'm sure you get some kind of response. In my experience, when there's more than natural stats in appearance, is that they see that you take care of your appearance. That's also very valid, right? If you're wearing the same t-shirt as yesterday and you haven't showered, then yeah, there are these are things you can easily fix, right? Shower, brush your teeth, and you've already won. You're halfway there, right? is the perceived potential to provide. That might be a cultural thing, right? But let's be clear here, right? I'm a Rust programmer. I use Arch, and my job is unsuccessful streamer. Okay, and so I'm failing to provide. Okay, I'm middle-aged or whatever. I don't know what middle-aged means these days, but let's just qualify me as middle-aged, or at least somewhere near that space, right? I'm massively into computers, and when I'm not playing around on the computer, as my father-in-law used to say, I watch a lot of Star Trek. Okay, so you tell me, right? I'm wearing the same t-shirt as yesterday because I have only one kind of t-shirt. Actually, I am the same. I have multiple of these black t-shirts, and I have multiples of the same in white. And it's the t-shirts that I enjoy wearing these days. I used to wear like these really baggy t-shirts and the likes, but they don't sit that well. And for some reason, they expose my belly a bit too much, and that feels a bit weird, right? I'm not like really into wearing crop tops, you know. Hello, Doddy. Yeah, man, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. I'm a little bit poor me under the blanket, but in reality, I'm feeling pretty all right. I think there are genetic factors. It's not merely a cultural thing. I don't think there's anything in genetics that understands what provide means, right? But then you have to define what provide means in this conversation, right? Being into computers is unattractive if it hinders your potential. As long as you seem productive while doing anything, it doesn't matter. Can you establish some kind of status through what you do? Great. What status? What status can I establish, right? So, but the thing is, I have a very driven mindset, right? I decided that I was gonna be run my own business, and I did that for a while. I decided that I was gonna work in certain areas, and I did that for a while. I have decided a lot of things and I've done that. The only thing I haven't succeeded at so far, by my definition of success, is streaming, which is why I keep doing it. I will do this until I become entirely irrelevant and forgotten, or until I make something out of this, right? Do you work as a software engineer? Not anymore. Do you even need a girlfriend? I can't grow a beard. Wait, what? I'll Impul provide for 9th Prime. There you go. For what purpose? This is so. Let's just be clear that this is a stream that you can watch with your kids in the room. So maybe we don't have to answer all these things too truthfully now, right? Before anyway, how about you use that driven mindset to decide to let go of your perfectionism? Yeah, you're not wrong, Enrico, but this is the thing though, right? It's, first of all, I think it's weird. I'm gonna apologize because I think it's weird when people talk about themselves and when they talk about the qualities, right? That to some degree, right? I mean, I'm sure you met people who will they will just outline some good quality about, I'm the kind of person who always does amazing things, and like, check me out, I'm really amazing, and everything I do is just gold, right? And the first thing I think of when people do this, like, okay, action speaks louder than words now, right? So you saying that you're amazing and can do all these things doesn't really mean anything to me. But yeah, so, it's weird that I talk about my own redeeming qualities, right? No one needs a partner. Yes, I do. I think this is incorrect. I think we all need a partner, right? But if it's not a partner in a relationship, in a romantic relationship, we at least need friends, right? So people need people, right? Why not program a robot woman? And then you program in that she will cheat on you as well. Like, your imaginary girlfriend left you for your imaginary friends. The pinnacle of destroyed and low self-esteem, right? Okay, so what do we got going on though, right? I missed your question. Then you have to redeem the reread. That's why we have the reread redemption. So you copy your question, you paste it into the reread, and I will read your question. Okay. Has anyone done anything interesting today? Let's have a look. No. What if your imaginary girlfriend is your imaginary friend? Well, then it's just even a crazier scenario, right? Last time I used the reread, you ignore that. No, I might choose not to respond to what people say. That doesn't mean that I ignore them. It just means that I think the question is stupid. Okay, I'm kidding, most probably. You reckon I should learn PHP or Node? I know JavaScript front end, but want to learn the back end. Feel like Node is kind of unemployable though. Why do you feel like Node is unemployable? I thought like the number of JavaScript jobs out there are significantly higher than the number of NIM jobs. Hello, Monokuma, how you doing? I woke up. That was the most interesting thing so far. Should we do something different today, right? Should we try to be like better versions of ourselves? Okay, this is very important. I used to like dating, by the way. Not allowed to do it anymore. But I used to like dating because it's like a job interview. You get to be the best you are. So another person, for the duration of about 20 minutes until she gets a phone call about something being broken and she has to leave. For those 20 minutes, you get to be the best you, right? And that's not you talking about how great you are. That's you being the best you are. You're attentive, you listen, you pay attention, you try to understand, you have a normal grown-up person conversation, and you hold the door for her when she leaves, right? You get to be the best you are. I was setting the bar for being the best very low. Don't worry about that. All right, we're gonna do a game doll. Game the classic. Yeah. All right. Want to roast my Rust code? I do, Charlie. Send me a link. But if it's embedded programming, then I don't know how. What do we got? Satisfactory? Right. It's the color schema, right? That's what you recognize here. Fix it. All right. Very easy. Then the code roasts you, right? Okay. It's going to be boring. I've almost never written any Rust code, and it's a Sellige plugin. It's also work in progress. Well, then we can look at it. The worse it is, Charlie, the easier it is for me to look good by talking about your code and all the shortcomings. And obviously, that's my main goal here, okay? Successful streamer. Okay, next config. What? Why are you asking me then? Okay. Whee. All right. Okay. So let's start by looking at this. Can we not clone this? No, we can't. All right. We're gonna have to use this thing, right? I don't know what the product is, right? How the curry was so good. I kid you not. I ate so much food. I woke up and I was sick before it even reached midnight. Okay, this is gonna be painful because I have to look at this here. Wait, let me have a look at this. No, there's a lot of stuff in here. What? Wait, should this be public? Oh man, that would be painful. Okay. Yeah, I always get a bit scared when I see people post like the end files and stuff. All right, let's start with the main file here. So what do we have? So unfortunately, I have to do this in the browser, which is really annoying. But my first reaction, Charlie, which has nothing, this is personal preference all the way, but you've declared your modules before your use statements. And that to me is just reading it backwards, right? You can, I mean, if the repo is not big, let's do that instead, right? Let's just do that. Hello, Temporus. How you doing, buddy? We have done nothing with code yet, so you are just in time. And then we need to go to parts, packages, right? And what was this thing called? Sellage switch. Okay. There we go, right? So then we're gonna look for a build RS, and we're gonna look at the TOML file. There are nothing obvious here, so let's just get on with it. Whoops. Why is this thing being on ship? All right. Big meeting day. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I'm gonna do multiple streams today, by the way, my friendos, because I am struggling a little bit. If we pick any packet on crates.io, we'll just grab any packet. I think you'll find that we just grab these 3-4 things, and let's look at the GitHub repos for these things. Make sure it's not the same person. And there's nothing saying that you have to do it this way, Charlie. This is just how I have always done it and what I'm used to. Okay, that one was great. This one has the module before the use statements. So, but this one is old because it's using extern crate. So this one is likely, yeah, this one is really old. That doesn't mean anything though. If anything, this just proves that you do whatever you want, right? And there is no preferred order, but you're going to have your use statements, then your modules. I'm imagining that's what we're going to see for the majority of everything we look at. Use statements module. All right, let's just grab some other. Did I grab that one? Some other ones as well. Oh, open a new one, please. And then just pop up. Why is GitHub so? No, that's burnt sushi again. All right, that one doesn't have any code. It doesn't exist. All right, we just grab something. You'll find in this case, this one is exposing the API, so that's not a good that was not a good example. This one does the module before the use statement, but this one's just lumped everything together. This rubs me the wrong way a little bit because they just put everything together. That's just sloppy. I'm guessing it's gonna be the same. Burnt sushi can't do bad Rust, okay? That does not compute. What is this thing? Here's some crates. If we just grab a regex crate, maybe. Use and mod. I think you're gonna find that in majority of everything, it's gonna be use and then mod, if there is anything. But maybe it's not as widely done as I thought it was. Ooh, what's going on here? I didn't even want to read that. I'm being very pedantic. I mean, it's just if it's my code, right? for some reason in my head, you always have at the absolute top, you're gonna have module level documentation. Are you gonna have your whatevs, right? And then you're gonna have your documentation. Then you're gonna have your use statements after that, and then you're gonna have your modules, right? This is like the order that I have grown up with. That's always been there, but it doesn't mean anything, right? Just ignore that now. Ignore that. Okay. This is Rust documentation comments, but this thing isn't public, so this documentation would probably never be generated, right? So you could have used regular comments like that, because you're not, unless you make this public, you're not gonna get any documentation for that. All right, let's have a look. What do we have? Okay, we have some Selly stuff there. This seemed to be just things that Sellage or Sellage, I don't know how to pronounce it, is what they do. I don't see any unwraps so far, which is really nice. I'm surprised that you can import modules. Yeah, well, I mean, it's not. There's no need for forward declaration in Rust. And that's not, as far as you know, that's a fact, right? Isn't this why the expression C++ would never be as safe as Rust, where they came from, right? But you guys seem to be in the middle of a conversation, and you guys have at it, right? All right. So you're mapping as. What is as? It's a reference to a string, and then you're doing aster here because you want to use string slices here. So that kind of makes sense, all right? You could, if you wanted to be silly, write string aster, right? That also works, right? And it doesn't change anything. It just means that you don't have to have a closure there, right? Macro rules needs to be forward declared within a module. Yeah, but no one ever said macro rules, right? But you're absolutely, well, you did. But you're absolutely right. Macro definitions has to be declared before they can be used, right? But macros are like a second language of Rust. And then we have this and this, and then we have a catch-all here where it's unknown if it's not one of these two. If the permission is granted, then we can do these things. Okay, cool. Then we have a pipe function. And then if we have a pipe message, if the current session, code like this always makes me a little bit unsure, because we're doing like a Boolean check on an option. But I get it. Although I don't understand why we don't use the current session here. So what is the implication of a current session name? So we have a session, and if we do, then we're going to handle the pipe message. Is this used to check if we have a current session? Is this something we need to do to know that we have a session? We can't do anything without the current session, and the only way we know that we have a current session is by checking the name. Well, I mean, you have more things to uphold, all right? Okay, so in that case, I would almost feel like we want an impl on the state here, where we say has session. Something like that. Just because this is a little bit more clear what is actually happening, right? This was kind of, I had to guess my way there, and you had to confirm it, right? So I would do something like that, right? All right, if the I mean, these are just my observations. They don't mean anything, right? Since you're returning from all of this, you can get rid of that and just put an else here, right? And it will have the same outcome. There's nothing wrong with having return there, but I think the majority, I could be wrong, it has happened once, that the majority of programmers that see a return statement in a function is going to think early return. But in this case, it's not an early return. In this case, it's more of a, now it's obvious that it's either this branch, or this branch, right? Alternatively, you can leave it in and write this as return. And then here, we can do this. So there's this code looks a bit different, but it does the same thing, right? But I would pick one of them. But it doesn't really matter, right? You do whichever, whatever feels cleaner is obviously the way to go. Whatever you like, right? Leftover refactoring, yeah. Start async root scan. We're probably gonna get to these things. Render, yep, we're gonna skip that one. This seemed to be wow. Thank you so much, Spider Biggin. Did we not get? Oh my God! What happened to the? What happened to the sound? What happened to the sound there? Thank you so much for the sub, Spider Biggin. Thank you. The dog is missing, but when I'm returning bool, essentially returning should render. So in cases like that, it might be worth to do. Let's see what this is being used though. So it's worth doing things like render something rather, right? Should render. Don't render, right? This is really a lot clearer if you do it this way, right? When you return this thing again, it's clear for future updates, right? Hello, Subduck. If you got some code, I'm happy to look for it. Look at it. Yes, I can look for it too, but I'm guessing that's just gonna be me scouring the interwebs. Right? Now, scan the host folder with async scan host folder API workaround. This API posts its results back to the plugin using event file system update event. See, this is really good, right? There's a workaround for the sellage, WASI runtime being extremely slow. This API might be removed in the future. Okay, this is good though. I like that they're using an enum. Maybe if I implemented a Boolean operator for it, you can. I mean, you could do like from bool or something. There is a lot of there's like every time you read code and you get like more descriptive stuff out, and it doesn't cost anything because using an enum is not going to have any overhead compared to a Boolean, right? More or less, right? I'm trying to grasp the commotion of unwrap. I've gotten that it shouldn't be used, but the article I read are so dragged out. Do you have a clear answer to why, or is it just complicated to why and when? No, Subduck. Let me see if I can sum this up for you. Okay. Let me do a bit of. Oh, hang on. I'm not in Tmux. Oh. Let's do this, and then. Okay, so if I have a function, right? We're gonna pretend, Subduck, that I have a public function in another library that returns an option of some kind. All right, we pretend that we can't see this thing. There we go, right? So if you do an unwrap here, there is no understanding from the end user of this thing. There's no understanding of why is this unwrap okay, right? Now, here's the thing, Subduck. There are cases when you know that something is always going to be okay or true or whatever, right? So if we do this, there is no way that this unwrap is ever gonna fail. So what we can do is we can write expect here instead. Okay? And when you do an expect, you should explain in the message why you expect this to never fail. Okay? So this will never fail because another lib is always 1, 2, 3, right? So it's fine to do this. We have explained why this will never fail. It's not a good explanation, right? But we are explaining. Let me do this instead, right? Let's have a oh man, I can't think of a good example now. But in reality, when we just do unwrap like this, we're kind of ignoring the possible situation, right? We are saying that we are sure that this thing will never fail, but we're not saying why. So whoever reads this code or whoever possibly runs into this issue have no idea why there is an unwrap there. Now, there are times when unwrap is perfectly fine. As a matter of fact, they should be encouraged, right? And that's when you're writing a test, right? So you have some input, right? Here, we don't care if this thing fails, right? Because the test is something else, right? We're going to assert that input is 1, 2, 3, right? That's our test. We don't care about doing a match statement here. It would be tedious to write a match statement here, right? So if we're going to do this, and if it's none, then we have to panic in here. Panic, test failed because of skill issue, right? This becomes very tedious, right? Our one line turned into 4 lines now. So if we try to run this thing, we don't really care, right? We're not interested in this thing, right? We just want the value. So for this reason, it's perfectly fine to unwrap. So if you want a guideline, then unwrap in test. If you want to unwrap outside of test code, then use expect instead and explain in your expect message why you expect this to not fail. With the caveat that saying we've checked it above is never a valid solution, okay? So if we do something like this, start is equal to another lib, whoops. And we do a match statement on this thing, right? And if we have some value, right, then here we're gonna panic. Oh, why does my life suck? All right. It's a very dramatic one. So in this case, we've already checked this. Now, arguably, there should be no reason to call this function, but maybe the function has side effects. We don't know, right? So in this case, we could do this, right? We can say that this thing, expect this thing to is checked above, right? Right? But that's not really a valid expectation, right? Because this might change over time, right? We might change this to call yet another function. And if we do this, first of all, we have no idea what checked above means. Checked above where? What exact code? We don't know how much code is going to end up in this function. We don't know which line is checking it. We certainly shan't start mentioning like line numbers or anything like that, right? It's instead when we're saying we expect this to not fail because of these reasons. It was today, mate. Today. Oh. No, not not the right phrase, mate. Not the right phrase. Okay. Oh man, I love you, dude. Enjoy your work. Okay. Right. So yes. Hopefully, I've answered your question. So to reiterate, unwrap in test. Expect outside of test and explain why you expect it to not fail. Otherwise, handle your errors and options. But prototyping is different. When we're prototyping something, prototyping is different. When you're prototyping, unwrap all day long, right? All right, so back to Charlie. Let's have a look. So we were here. We're gonna call these things. So it's good documentation. Everything looks fine here. So this one is passing a reference. Is this thing part of this? Is part of the protocol? So yeah, it's because T doesn't have to be sized. And then we're passing it's like a lot of references here. I'm guessing this thing is actually this thing could be a copy type. Right? This thing has no size effectively almost, right? Oh, I missed that one, ModProg. By the way, the last two words you wrote put together was cancelled. Lots of finger food, yeah. So I don't know, obviously, the rest of this, if it's fine to do this, but I think what we serialize, actually, you know what, Charlie? It makes sense that serialize takes a reference. That makes sense because you have other things in here that are sized, right? This thing could be very big, so you don't necessarily want to move this thing. Same thing with that. So the reference makes sense here. But this reference, I am not sure of because whatever we create here, unwrap. All right, Charlie. Now you have to explain why is this fine to unwrap, right? And that's what you have to explain to your future self, right? So why are we passing our references to these things, right? We're passing up, it's a payload string, but if we look at this thing, there's only two users of this thing, and this thing could be owned, right? Oh, as a matter of fact, you're even making it to own. There you go. Saved you some allocations. Bam. There we go, right? Now we're just going to go and fix what I just broke here. Yep, that one. You're hitting all the right words there, ModProg. Okay, that's fine. As I just said to Subdark, right? It's perfectly fine to unwrap when you're prototyping. The same with message. Yeah, all of them. But my computers decided to soil the bed, right? I'm wondering if I'm somewhere on webs. This is why Temporis, this is a problem with Sellage. This is kind of bad of Sellage. This thing should be into string in that case for all of these, right? This is a drawback with Sellage. And worker name into. So if it looked like this, then we wouldn't have to pass references here, okay? And that would make more sense because it looks, right? It looks different. But anywho, let's not recompile that. All right, so this is not on you, Charlie. This is on Sellage, and they should have done a better job here, right? Instead of like this is very much an I don't care attitude, right? Yeah, we're all guilty of it, right? Drain events returns a Boolean value. If the queue is empty, then return false. Draining events. So we're gonna drain, we're gonna collect that, and it. No, I don't think we need don't need collect there. Okay, we don't need it there either, right? And this one wants a reference to the event. No, we can't. Huh. This feels a bit wrong. Can I ask a Rust question? The compiler's telling me something can't move string because it doesn't have copy trait. Kind of confused. That can't be the error message, right? This seems like excerpts from two different error message. You can't move the string because it's referenced, maybe. But yeah, the string isn't copied, so you can't borrow the string and move it at the same time because you would end up with a dangling pointer. Imagine that you have a reference to a string here that's pointed to some memory over here, and then you move the string to this memory location. Now when you try to dereference this guy, you end up with a dangling pointer, right? I think handle event, which is a private function, so we can probably just do that and be done with it, right? No. Oh, okay. It needs unique. That's because of the queue. Okay, right. I see what the error is. Okay, let me show you what the error is here. Let me get around this thing. Right. So we can collect this vec, which means we stop using self here. Okay. So what is happening here is if we do this, okay, we now have a drain iterator, which means we haven't moved anything until we collect it. Right? Once we collect, so I'm going to show you a better way to do this, Charlie. Or, sorry, that was a silly thing to say. I'm going to show you a different way of doing this thing, right? So while we're draining, if we take these two out, then we're borrowing self queues. And while we are borrowing something from self, we need unique access to self. This handle event probably has mutable access to self as well, right? So in here, if this was allowed, we can effectively do, wait, let me do this. So we can effectively do this here. We can do self.queued, where are you? Queued events.clear, right? We could do this while we're draining. So hopefully this will put emphasis on why we can't do what I said we're going to do. But I'm going to show you how we can get around this, right? So if we drain and collect, that means that we allocate a new vector, right? Which means that we're gonna allocate a vector, and we're gonna move everything in the drain iterator into that vector. Then we're gonna start iterating over the vector. So we have now detached self-queued events, right? So we can speed that up. We can say that queued events is equal to self.queued events, right? And all we have to do is we have to take away what's here, right? So we say take, okay? Which means we're gonna take what is there and leave a default implementation in its place, which is just an empty vector. So now we can use queued events. We don't have to drain them anymore. Yes, we do have to drain them if we're gonna do this thing, but arguably we don't. We could just iterate over them. But let's say we drain them. We don't need iter. We're good now. This is fine. Sorry, this is fine. Right, sorry. This is fine. Thank you. All right, so this is fine now. I explained poorly. I'm sorry. Hello, Skylar. String expect, and then HTTP server move. Right. So this can be called several times with the secret, right? So you need to clone the secret. All you have to do is clone the secret before you move it. Okay. So you can do this. You can put another block up here around the move block. Like that. And then that. That should... Whoops. That should do it, right? So we're cloning it before we move it, right? I think that might solve your issue. I can't answer that, but I think so. Okay, so let's go back to this thing, right? Yeah, so what this will do, if we go and look at this thing... If we do a stud mem take a mutable reference to v, and it's sort of like, so this is going to become an empty one, and that's going to be the new one, right? So if we print out what is inside the current vector, it is now empty, and if we print out what's inside new, we have now moved the value there. So what will happen, we can simulate this by saying let new is equal to vec default, and then instead of using a take, we can use a swap and pass in a mutable reference to new, and it's the same outcome, right? It's the same outcome. It's just easier to write take. As a matter of fact, if we just go and look at the code in here, it probably looks very similar to what we just wrote, right? Well, it's calling replace with t default, and it's return. Replace will return what is there, right? It will return this, okay? Can I not clone it because I don't use outside anymore? Clone will do a heap allocation, right? Yes, but what's up? Let's put this into perspective, though. Worrying about heap allocations is fine, and you should do it. But you're also worrying about heap allocations in a web server where every single request is a heap allocation, right? It doesn't mean that you should have more of them, but you're already kind of out there with this. This is not, that heap allocation is not going to be your bottleneck, though. But what you could do is you can put it inside an arc or an RC, and then you can clone it as much as you want, right? And if that doesn't make sense, then just mention that. How did that help with the iteration situation? Okay, yeah. Let me go through this again, because this is kind of important. Okay, if we go back to the original code and it looks like this. Okay. Remember that we can clear the queue here. When we call handle event, we are clearing the queue. All right? So if I'm currently borrowing the queue, right? I am borrowing the queue here, and then I call handle event on the first event. Let's say that there are 10 events in the queue, okay? So first event, we're calling this handle event function with the first event. Inside handle event, we clear the queue. What happens for our second iteration? While we are draining this thing, right? We are clearing it while we're draining it. So instead of draining this thing, we just take all the values out of there into a new vec. There is no additional allocation, right? We just swap ownership, right? So we say, okay, let queued events equals to take of self.queued event, right? And now we can use this instead. So when we call, well, actually the easier thing would probably just be to pass a reference here. We're going to look at the event before we do anything, right? So now we no longer have to collect this into a new vector. We don't have to allocate a vector and then copy all the values into that vector while we're draining. Instead, we're just taking the entire vector. Remember that a vector is just 3 parts. A pointer to the first memory location, or the first value in the vector, a length and a capacity. So really the only thing we're doing here is saying, okay, give me 24 bytes on the stack and get on with it, right? We're not copying the data over, we're not creating any new allocations or anything like that, right? We're just changing the pointers. So this self-queued event ends up pointing to a new vector, but that's fine because it's going to be drained anyway, right? Why clear queue and event handling at all? To prove a point or to show this off, right? We don't want this here, right? I'm explaining why we can't call a function on self. We can't have mutable access to self while we have mutable access to the event queue. That would cause us an unexpected side effect, right? A very unexpected outcome, right? So we do this instead. We don't need any of that stuff. We actually have less code and more optimized code doing this. We don't have to drain this. We can now just change this to into iter, and that will work just as well, right? So we don't actually need to create a draining iterate over this thing. We can just iterate over this thing. Can we use a function reference for handle event 2 somehow? No, because there are 2 arguments here. If you only had 1 argument, you have a function handle that takes an event. That's an event here. Right? If your function looked like this, then we could change this to handle. And it's fine, right? Well, not default isn't going to be fine then, but... And that would probably do better as a for each at this point if we did this. Oh, okay. Actually, panic because we're not done with this thing. This works because we only have 1 argument, right? But since self handle has multiple arguments, it has self and the event, we cannot do that. All right, so let's have a look. So this thing is unreachable. Good use of unreachable. There's no, do you mean there's no partial bind available? No, modprog actually suggested an API for this that kind of looked sane. So I don't know if he's gonna do anything with that or not, but today, no, there isn't. Okay, so granted is already hand update event. Permission request. Granted is false. Close self return false. Okay. You forgot what your suggestion was? Nah, that's on you then. But do you remember this, ModPro? Do you remember the conversation around this, at least? Where you can pass function pointers or function references to function pointers to functions that use itself, right? I have no idea. So match on the serialize. Okay, crawl if repository crawler responds repository to serialize. So I'm guessing this thing returns like true or false depending if the event has been handled, right? Let's keep reading, but I want to come back to these 2. What does the code do? No idea. True means re-render. Gotcha. Okay. So, yeah, re-render. This should be in there, right? Repository crawler response. Repository is deserialize the payload. I feel like we could write this something like matches maybe. And that. No, we need the repository, so we can't do that. Why do we need the message and the let else? Yeah, Tenak, that could be good. That could be good. Yeah, that's a good call, Tenak. Let's go with that. Let's use a let else instead. So instead of doing an if let, where we put all the functionality if this was true inside the body, we do a let else, which is kind of like inverting that, right? So we say let this thing be that else return false. And then we can do this and get rid of that whole block, all right? Hello, Marvin. It's going all right. I have a call in a bit. I'm going to do multiple streams today. Do you what's the point of that mod message, modprog? Do you want those terms to be in the chat or? Yes, let else is very nice. It allows you to invert this thing. So this one looks a bit like a matches. That message is science. Okay, I see you collecting the terms. Go for it. Okay, let's not get too hung up on that. So if we have any. So file, is this an actual file name? It's an oyster, okay. I feel like this thing should be. Gotta delete all this match case. The match case is fine. I mean, you have so much going on here. Do you really want to delete all this? Okay. So we do a filter map here. So I wonder if this thing would look better as a filter. So we can, okay, let's have a look. Let's do this, okay? Let's take this thing and then we do path iter. So we're going to do a couple of things here, right? The first thing we're going to do, I don't think we need the metadata. So we're just going to get rid of that. We're going to map this out. So we just have the path. And then we're going to filter instead. No, we do use the metadata. I'm being a lemon. Blip, 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 blip. Yeah, so I copy this out from here. And then we do a for each here instead. With the dir. Like that. No? Oops. Like that. So we don't need to write out all of that. Hello, Annalite. How you doing? So filter map is going to give us... If metadata is a directory, then we're going to return the path. Yeah, I guess this is fine. I don't know why I'm so hung up on this thing. So the cloning of the session name here feels a little bit no. That's a, so we iterate over these things. And the reason we iterate, we have to clone this. Yeah, we don't want to clone the session, so that actually makes sense. And if the session is current session, then we're going to update the name. This feels like this map is doing too much stuff. But we have to do an operation on all the sessions, and we don't necessarily want to iterate over all of them. And we want to collect all the session names in there. Can you explain why, if I implement try from R where R is read for a custom struct, why that would be conflicting? Because that has possibly already been implemented by something else, and this would be implemented for a bunch of things. Is this like stud IO read, or is this your own read trait? Because this thing you shouldn't even be able to do. Possibly not. I'm just wondering if... because you don't own try from or read. So you shouldn't even be able to do that, right? Ow! So if I try to do impl R, where R is read, try from R. Wait, what did you have? For a custom struct. Okay, sorry. I missed that. So this means that try from is already implemented for... there's a blanket implementation that's conflicting with this thing. And it's possibly here. So to be more specific, even if you put this constraint here, let me show you what the issue is, okay? We make our own trait, tr, okay? And if I try to do an impl of something here, it's going to have the same error message, right? It doesn't matter what we put there because there is already an implementation. Okay, that makes no sense. Let me show you this instead. So we're going to impl tr for custom, right? Where R is read. Now, even if I do this, okay, this would look or appear as two different implementations, right? Plus debug or whatever bounds we put on there, right? There is still going to be two conflicting implementations, right? It doesn't matter what our constraint is, our trait bound is. The moment you have a generic implementation, regardless of the bounds, that's going to cause another conflicting implementation for this, even if you try. Because we don't have specialization. Right. So the moment there is a blanket implementation, you cannot make an implementation, right? As a matter of fact, if I do this, I can't import tr string for usize. I could. All right. Forget that. I can't do this, though. I don't think I can do this. I can do this. As long as we have a specific type there. Now I can't do it. Because now it's implemented. Even though this thing would be... I think this would fail. No, it won't fail. But string doesn't implement read. Oh, God. What's the rules for this again? But the long and short of it is you need specialization, something that's been missing for a long time. Okay. I am too stumbly boo for this thing. Let's get back into the Charlie code. I am not giving you a satisfactory answer. Okay, so this thing ends up doing two things which we might not want to do. Are we moving anything? No, we don't. Do you know that 10% of people watching coding streams worldwide right now are here? Does that mean that there are 700 people in software and game dev right now? How you doing, Auntie? Yeah, sorry, Mixed Nuts. I did a terrible job getting into that. And I clearly did not remember at all how that worked. So you should kind of wipe what I said from memory and explore that. It has to do with conflicting trait implementations and specialization, but I can't give you anything more useful. You understood enough. Well, thank goodness for that then. 71 of 690. Very good. Yeah, this thing rubs me the wrong way. No, it doesn't. But at the same time, I know why. So maybe if we could find out where this thing is being set. Oh, right, never mind. Drain messages that were queued while the session name was unknown should always be true at this point, but prevents crashes in case of unexpected application state. Interesting. Okay. Then it's just some key handling. This short-circuiting variant of the OR operator to enforce evaluation of the right-hand side. So this thing has more importance than this thing then, right? I can't answer that because I don't know what they are doing and why they're doing it. Not in this case. Oh, wait, you're ORing them, not ORing them. Okay, gotcha. Sorry. Yeah, that's I read this and then I missed the last pipe. Yeah. Close self. This is okay, that's a CellJ thing, yeah. And then return false. What's the point of returning a Boolean here? Okay, if we see, you know what I really love about your code, Charlie? That there is very little public code in here. Very little stuff is public, which means I can break things in here and not have to worry about it. Oh, it's because of this. So this thing can return a Boolean value. There are two places where this thing can return a Boolean value. And close self returns nothing. I get why you're doing it. I get why you're doing it. You need to wrap a Boolean value around there. Now we could do something really perverse here. We could do close self here. Oops. That's what I'm trying to do. So we could start here like that, but that's kind of a little bit weird. So what we could do is this. No, we can't. Damn it. Wait. Wait, I forgot the syntax for this thing. We're going to do something really perverse and then we're going to get rid of it. Okay, we're not going to leave it in there. I try saying this something people want. It's coming to all operating system. Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, even if it is, it would be an add-on to Linux. It's not something that's going to be forced on people. Could do terminate. Oh, you know what, Charlie? Sorry, Skylar. We actually could do what you're saying. So we could do close self false .1, right? Thank you for that gross idea. This we can do. Don't do this. This is insanely weird. Don't do this, okay? But thank you for that, Charlie. Skylar. God damn it, brain. Shut up, brain.
Don't tell me what to do.
Brain. All right. Then is what I was looking for. So we could do like true then close self map. Oh no, we can't do that. That would be a unit, right? And well, actually we could do map to false, unwrap, or false. Okay, right. That is a new level of gross. Okay, you could write it like this. So we start with a true, and then we're calling then on true, which guarantees that the closure will be executed. Then we're mapping that unit output. So we could write the unit in here. Okay, and then we're mapping that to false, and then we're unwrapping that false, right? So in this case, we could just unwrap, right? There's guarantee, but. Yes, do not do this, right? This is like almost equally gross to what we had before, right? So call self terminate. It makes perfect sense, Charlie. Thanks, I hate it. Exactly. It's like, what crimes are you committing now? All of them? Okay. Yeah, this makes sense. This is fine. Okay, drain pipe messages. If it's empty, then return false. I wonder if you have to do this, right? I wonder if this has to be done. This should just return false, yeah? Because there's nothing... If queue is empty, I mean, you get this message. Maybe you don't want that, but I think this will just return false because that's your initializer, right? Wait, initializer is not the word. Your accumulator, is that the word for it? Fold. I think it's the accumulator. Yeah. That's the accumulator. So the false, because false is the accumulator, right? Alternatively, wherever are we calling this? We're calling it here. Oh, right. That's why. Okay, so there's like all these Boolean values. I kind of feel like something should change with these bools because Boolean values are kind of meaningless in the long run when you're reading them. Here, Charlie, is where we can use a let else. So we say let some payload else return false. And we can now dedent this entire block and then get lost in our own code. Then we are... There we go. Then we can get rid of the return keyword here. And then here, I would just change this to exec, right? And not have the command at all. Then we can get rid of this. And it can look like this. And then here, we'd change it to this, yeah? And then... I don't remember what we actually had in the event of... Wait, I need to roll back my stupidity. How did you appear there? Okay. Are we good? Yeah, all right, let's get rid of that thing. That made no sense. Yeah, so we just do this and this, and then this thing is going to be some here. And then we don't need that. We don't need that. We don't need to match on the command at all. That becomes some next. Ow! No. Select the whole thing. Thank you. Okay, so we're... fiddlesticks! Alright, so we do need the command. So we can do command. We do a binding in here, so we get hold of the command. Oh, and this thing needs the command too. Okay, there we go. So we just bind this word. We could have taken this word here and put that here instead, right? That would have worked just as well. But rather than having another string literal in there, we just bind this command, right? Here we can do the same thing with the let else, whatchamacallit. Yeah, let else is reasonably new. Here I think we should do a match on this. And then if it's some, then we have an insert, thank you. If it's not, then we have this. All right, I think that to me reads a little bit better. I'm vibing to the music a little here. I've rerouted my audio though, so if you guys notice anything, let me know. The same thing can probably be done here. So we're doing a split here. So this one is a bit funny, okay? This one you can expect. All right, and that's because, I mean, you're not going to do this because this is going to be wordier, but the first element is always present in a split. So the first time you call next is always going to be, it's always going to be available, right? So what do we have on args? Is this it's a string. So you're splitting this on the first space. I think this thing takes a predicate, so you can do car is white space. If you wanted to, right? but that's more code than what you wrote, and it does something slightly different. But you can do that if you want. Or ASCII white space if you want to save a little bit of... Oh, no, it did not like that. All right, either way. But this is probably what you want, the actual space character. And the reason we're making this thing mutable is because we're treating it as an iterator at this point where we can split. So, really the second one is the one that we're kind of concerned with. So here we can say session name is equal to argv.next. And we're going to unwrap this for a second, okay? Just because this thing might be empty, but it could also be empty here. There's nothing saying that this thing isn't empty. This one takes a string. That makes me... This feels a bit sus. This thing is a string slice. Oh. Okay, so partition is not... Partition is not that. What's the... Oh, hang on. Okay, actually, let me walk this back a little. I see something here that makes me wonder a little bit. So in this case, we're draining, so ownership can be had. And ownership can be had. Okay, so we're going to do some changes here, right? We're going to take ownership of pipe message because there's nothing preventing us from doing that, right? So let's take ownership of the pipe message here. And then here, we're just going to call... We're gonna have to do the same fix we did earlier here, but for now, we're just going to call into it. So we go from references to owned values. Okay? So now that we have ownership of this thing, we no longer have to clone this or call into on these things. So we're going to change this to just be payload. We can move it out of there. That's perfectly fine. So now instead of having a string reference, we have a string. Okay. So now our partition is, oh, it's still going to be, can we not split a string itself? We can do a split off, but then we need to know the position. And I think that is gonna be, that's gonna be on, either way, that's gonna be on the string slice. So we want to reduce the allocation count. Well, we don't want to, but we can. We can reduce the allocation count here by saying that the space position is payload.position. So remember that this thing is an own string now. No, we don't need to do any of these things. We can, right, so okay. Let's just do this again. There we go, right? So now we're back to not having to do any of that again, right? Okay, so let's get the position of the first white space character that we're looking for. I thought we could do that. Can we not get position? Is it find, maybe? I think it's find. Right. So we find the first position. And if we don't have a position, and there's no guarantee that the second value will be something. But now we can do payload.split off on the space position, right? if we, for the sake of conversation, pretend that this thing exists, we can do a short, we can shorten that, right? So we're now gonna split this thing, and if we look at split off, this one is a little bit confusing because it looks like we are, we're all right, let's just look at this thing, and you can see the confusing part of this thing, right? So it splits the string into 2 at the given index, and it returns the newly allocated string, so self contains 0 to at. So we're returning the second argument. And it might feel like we should be returning the first argument, but we're returning the second argument. So what we actually get when we split is we get what we call current working directory, right? So this is what we have now. That's our current working directory. That's and the payload is now gonna be our. It's not payload. Let the command, right? No, session name. Right. If we're gonna be clear on how this all hangs together, right? So then we don't have to do this split anymore. We already done that, but of course we have to deal with this none here instead. And that one says that we should return this. Okay, so we can say, whoops, sum else. Oh my God, sorry. And what was it? All right, there we go. Like that. Okay, yeah, calm down, Rust. We're not done yet. So now we have this thing. Otherwise, we're gonna return that. So this means that we can skip some things, right? But now I have lost track of what I was doing, right? So we've covered this. We haven't covered this thing though, right? Actually, no, we covered this, we covered that. So then we need to cover these things, right? Oh man, I lost myself in the code. Hang on, let me just re-grab this. And roll this back. I lost myself in the code. I don't remember what was there and what I added. But we'll just back this up again. No, wait, this was fine. Up until this point. There we go. That's it. Thank you so much, Kisla. Thank you for the sub. I'm so unhappy. We had 2 subs today, and none of it has been new subs counting to the Halloween goal. I failed when I set up the goal, and obviously since we're this far in, I can't really change it. But thank you so much for that. Thank you so much, Kisla. Okay, so we split this thing, and then we're gonna say last command is that. Nice one, Johnny. This whole business could be a separate function. Hello, Emil. How you doing? Am I out of tea already? Oh, I failed to open my thermos. So what I'm trying to show you, Charlie, but I'm failing, is how we can, let's just copy this code. Well, and now I have the original code, right? So partition, we're supposed to split this thing, right? But I think it makes more sense to do a split off on this thing because we can own this, all right? So we don't have to allocate new strings. So if we fail to split the partition, if it's none, then we're returning this. So we can write this as something is, all right, so it'll be some position is equal to payload dot find the first white space and else return this thing like that. So what? Oh no, it's setting the last command. Oh, right. Oh, forget it. I'm too florped in the brain for this. Let's just roll that back. Long and short of this, Charlie, you can take ownership of the pipe message. You can do this, but you can also use split off so you don't have to have any more allocations, because you end up with allocations here and here and here and here, right? All these and this and this, right, causes allocations, right? Yeah, sorry, my brain is just decided to urinate on me instead. On a side note, when you have a single ident, you can put the ident directly in the string like this. This only works with singular idents. It does not work with dot expressions or anything like that, right? You can do that. It's all good, Charlie. It's all good. It's just fun for me to do this. I don't mind doing this. It's a lot more relaxing than dealing with my own bull crap. You and me both, Charlie. And I'm serious. There's so much Rust I need to catch up on. Yesterday was the first time I poked at SIMD. Turns out it wasn't as confusing as I thought it was gonna be. I did a lot of terrible things with it, but it wasn't as hard to operate as I thought it was gonna be, right? Okay, we are. Okay, so here we can do the same thing here, right? We can say let some else, and then we can get the unreachable code in here. Then we need to get rid of this thing. Then we can get rid of this thing, and then we can clean that up. So let else is why this works with just one argument. Wait, because you can't have complex expressions, right? So it can do the ident thing, but it can't do any complex expressions, right? And it never will. That's because reading this is an intentional design choice. Reading complex expressions in string interpolation, it can be really odd, right? Imagine if it is something like this, right? Map to string to lower, and then I don't know, right? To stir, I don't know what it would be, but it's just hard to read code inside a string, right? So it's an intentional choice. Yeah, it has to be an ident. If you want both, you can define as a field later. You can, but that is doing the opposite, right? That is making it into a long, long name, right? So you can do this if you want to, right? Whoops. Oh my god. Rain, help me out here. Right. You can, but that kind of makes this thing longer than when we started, right? I asked about type state and trying to do a vec box-time trait. But is a working find the trick from Reddit? Import my trait for box-time my trait. Yeah, that's very common, mixed nuts. When you do something like type erasure and such, if we look at widgets, for instance, or maybe any widget. So we're going to have a trait like any widget, which is going to do some type erasure. And then we're going to implement, actually, in this case, we're going to implement any widget for T, where T implements widget. And if we go to the widget trait, we're going to see an implementation of, I thought we were going to see an implementation of this for box. All right, at least we have it for the state, so maybe not the widgets. So you end up with things like this, import state for box state, and all you do is dereference to get to the underlying value. It's very mechanical, or no, it's very repetitive to have to do this, but yeah. Okay, so what is root? Every time I see things like asref and what have you, then I want to look at it. This is an option. Calling asref means that we're going to get a reference to the path buff inside option. So we get an option reference, not a reference to an option, right? Okay, or else we're going to bail. We're going to join relative current working directory. The Digma people is chatting. Maybe I should ask them if they want to do something where they sponsor the stream. Like sponsor an event that we do. But I need to get more viewers, right? We can't do an event with 78 viewers, okay? They're gonna go, no, we're not gonna give you a keyboard to give out for free to a winner of some event when you have like 2 participants, right? Do you want to see something more lunatic, mixed nuts? All right, just because we're on the topic. Okay, should we just go into not allowed and do it there, right? Ow! All right, let's do this thing. So we can have a trait like this that we can do something with, right? And if you have ended up in a situation where you have a struct that holds a dingus, right? But it's a box dine dingus, like this. You notice that you can't derive debug for this thing, right? Because dingus does not implement debug, right? Now you can do this, but that might not be what you want. What you can do, on the other hand, is you can write this. Which is a little bit bananas, right? Ooh, no, it would have to be a reference to it, right? Otherwise, we'd have to implement it for a box one, right? But there we go, right? So even though the dingus itself does not have a trait bound, so you can have a struct fool, and you can implement dingus for fool, and that's fine. And now, if you want to, you can create a holder. Whoops. Hodler. Oh man, isn't that a thing? Where the dingus is a reference to the fool. Thank you for the raid space. How you doing? Hope you had a good stream. Is it lunch break already? Oh man, I am not ready for food yet. It's too early. It's too early. So I'm just showing some things in Rust. This is probably not, if you've never programmed Rust before, this is gonna make little to no sense to you whatsoever. All right, so we can now do a write to F with dine dingus, all right? And if we do this, we can now debug print our holder, even though our holder has a fool which does not implement debug. Whew. All right, enjoy your lunch. Enjoy your lunch. Welcome, Raiders. I am Toggle Twat here on Twitch. That's not what I am. What am I doing? Well, anyway, we're just looking through people's source code right now and just doing silly stuff. So someone earlier mentioned. I always say someone, even if I know who it is, because I never call people by name. Apparently, that they can implement a trait for a box of that trait, and I'm saying now that you can also implement functions for dynamic things, right? The judging stream. So, and I think we can do something even more stupid. We can have a trait called stupid, and this trait can have a function called be more clever, all right? And then we can do something like we can import stupid for a dyn function like this. So if we now create a function like this, we should, in theory, be able to call oops dot be more clever. But we need to have a reference to the function. So we might have to do that. No, we couldn't do that on a function. But can we do this on a closure? No, even if we did this. Hang on. I'm not giving up yet. This should work, though. Yeah, that works. So we can call a function on a function if we implement a trait for it. This is very... Working on a project for this game. We're going to get back to Charlie's code now. All right, but I'm going to read your question. Working on this project, this game, where I'm reverse engineering a lot. Let's say you have a file, you figure out data structure, and you want to map it to struct. Do you read the bytes and map to your own custom struct field, or do you hold a reference to the bytes and have a wrapper struct already to do Rust stuff with it? Yes, since we own the trait, we could do that, Skylar. So do you hold a reference to the byte? This depends on how the bytes are going to be used, right? So there's nothing wrong with passing references around, but passing references are also saying that it's also implying that you're going to have more use of this. I had two of those, right? That you're gonna use that again, right? So if you pass ownership, you're making you're sort of making a statement, a fashion statement. If you pass ownership, you're saying these bytes are only going to be used by this one thing over here. But if you need to use it in multiple places, then you pass references. But let me read this again, because I feel like I kind of answered a different question. Do you read the bytes and map to your own custom struct field, or do you hold a reference to the byte and then have wrapper struct over it, do Rust stuff with it? Well, that's a different story then, right? Whatever is more convenient, I would go with mixed nuts. So I would go less allocations, more convenient, right? In that order. When we're talking about reading, especially when we're talking about reading from files, right? If your file, I don't know where I did this. If your file is an entire database of 2 GB that you're gonna read into memory, then obviously you don't want to clone that, right? So yeah, I think we need to know more before I can say anything, because the scenario is very vague. and it depends on everything around it. All right, so here we're gonna do. Man, is this Sellige again? What are they doing? Why are they doing this? They allow you to pass in a bunch of string things, and then they clone them immediatamente. Right? Why do they do that? Right? That's weird. Okay, that's weird. You're being weird, Sellige. Stop being weird. All right, let's have a quick look at this thing. All right, that one was easy. Well, since we're gonna do this, we might as well. Whoops, we might as well do that. Matcher. That's not how you're supposed to behave. Take a little bit more. What? This is supposed to open in the left pane. Why is it open in the right pane? Is there a bug with this now? That's how it's supposed to behave, okay? I have no idea what's happening there. It's nonsense. All right, so here's the thing. Here's the thing. With a lot of stuff in it. So this one is gonna hold some, at least 2-3 allocations we can see here, right? And everyone knows that if you allocate a lot of data, if you allocate too much data, then the Rust Foundation will come to your house and they will take your computer away and say, "You, sir, or madam, you have been allocating all the way to Sunday, right? We don't approve." So I don't know if we need to allocate or not, right? We might have to, so it doesn't really make any sense to say anything. Take your cloud, they take entire AWS, right? But that's not good for you because they still leave you with the bill. Okay, so pop character. Pop character would imply that you are returning the character almost, but okay. Why it has to be scared? His brain is riddled with allocations. Nah, it's fine to allocate. It's just, it's nothing wrong with it. Okay, so here's a path buff. So we're taking ownership of this thing. Then that makes sense, right? This is we're gonna own this thing. These are all public as well, so this, we have to be careful with how we do things here. User input. What is this thing? It's a string. So you can just you can just return a string. Stop it, brain. You can just return a reference here, and it will convert it into a string slice. So you don't have to call Esther on that. Okay, so here we're gonna do self matches drain again. So I think we're in the same place here, where we don't necessarily wanna. Well, we never call a function on this. Oh, hang on. Wait, we're draining and then we're pushing. Oh, there's more to this function. I wasn't seeing the whole function. Oh, so you're going to combine this with the previous matches. Okay. No, that's fair enough, Charlie. There is a little bit of magic around there. So we need the second vector here because we need to compare it to the previous one. So that's matches. So matches are empty now. For every choice, we insert new matches. Then I will go back to take. Then we go back to take. Because you're going to fill up an empty vector here is the goal, right? Oh, this is going to be long. I don't know if this is better. This is just going to be long. I feel like maybe what's the matcher here? I wonder if we could just do what is P? Is a path buff to stir. So choice is a string slice. And fuzzy indices is operating on string slices. Okay. All right, user input is a string. We don't need this. That will be coerced. Oh, hang on. These are the choices. Oh, I see. Hello, Scott. How you doing? I'm looking at some code and my eyes... Okay, I have to make a call now. Noise mail. Not at all, Scott. It's just timing. I'm already 5 minutes late for my call, but I'll come back. Okay. So I'm gonna go and make a call. We're gonna come back to this once I'm done, and then we do more things. Okay. So let me see who's Twitchery do dying. Maybe Robotic. We can raid Robotic. I was gonna raid Space, but he's still nomming on food, I guess, right? So let's just do this. All right. So I'll be back in like maybe a couple of hours. I have to do this call, then I have to go into a call with another person, and then I come back and we deal, okay? All right, wonderful people. I'll see you in a bit.